What is going on, guys? Just before I start, I would like to say if you haven't gone on my email list yet, then I'll put the description either up or down below, depending on where you're watching this. If it's on LinkedIn, it'll be in the video description. If it's on Instagram, it'll be up on top on my profile description. If it's on YouTube, it'll be down below. Okay? So just depends on where you are. And in the emails itself, weekly, I send emails about inspiration on fitness, mindset, wellness. I kind of blend all of them together. So if you like that kind of content, hop on. All right. That being said, in today's video, I'd actually like to talk about discipline. Okay. Simply put, discipline is just small acts of courage blended together to actually build up on your discipline. Now, what does that actually mean? What does acts of courage actually mean? Now, you don't have to jump off a cliff. You don't got to jump out of a plane. You don't got to do all those crazy Red Bull adrenaline pumping things. That's not really what I'm talking about. Courage simply means doing something that you really haven't done, or you just kind of push yourself away from the idea of doing that thing or certain things. Now, we all want discipline. We just have to actually get it going. I'm going to go over the 5 mistakes that people actually make when it comes to building up on discipline. Okay, starting with number 1. And that is they think a lot about it in their head and they plan to make big drastic changes. That's kind of part 1 of the first mistake, but also they don't start. So it's okay if you plan really big, but you got to actually start in some direction. Otherwise, you're going to keep on planning and planning and planning and then not actually do anything. You get paralysis by analysis, they call it. You have so much planning in place and you don't actually do it. All right. Number 2 is they end up comparing themselves to other people. If you compare someone else's journey to your own, you're going to feel discouraged and you're just not going to want to do anything because now you're just low and you feel down, right? No one's going to want to do anything when you feel down. You know, no great things ever came out of you feeling like crap. It just doesn't happen. Okay. So that's number 2. Number 3 is you lose focus with distractions. In today's world, especially on the phone, especially now when people stay at home, they're going to be on their phones all the time. It's very easy to actually get distracted. So you have to really kind of guard the gates of your mind and be careful as to how much you actually get distracted. And you will. Don't get me wrong, you will. Okay, that funny cat video is going to come up on your feed eventually. So you have to really discipline yourself in order to not be distracted. But anyways, that's a third thing. Number 4 is people are looking for that quick fix. Okay, there is no quick fix. Your discipline isn't going to just build up by doing one thing one day. You know, it's not going to build up by taking a pill. It's not going to build up by watching YouTube videos. Okay, ironic because I'm making one right now. But here's the thing: you take the information that you get and you apply it as best as you can in your daily life. And the last mistake is people's heads just not in it, right? Their whole mentality is so different when it comes to building discipline. And then they tell themselves, I can't do it. It's too hard, right? I have a sweet tooth. I can't. My genetics, I can't. My family, I can't. My environment, I can't. So you tell yourself these stories. Of course, your discipline is going to be on the low. And next thing you know, it builds up. And not in a positive way either. It builds up to kind of get you down, and next thing you know, you're not going to want to do things at all. So these are the 5 mistakes that people make. I'm going to go over the 5 things that you should implement in order for you to actually see some results with your discipline. Okay, so number 1 on things you should implement instead of the previous 5 steps in order for you to build your discipline is number 1, start small. Okay, there's nothing wrong with starting small. There's different opinions on this because people tend to think, okay, if go big or go home. Okay, sometimes you have to go, you have to go a little bit smaller in order for you to keep on going rather than go home. Okay, so start small. That's totally fine. The second thing you should implement is create your own path. So instead of comparing yourself to other people's stories and other people's disciplines and becoming discouraged by that, you can still watch other things to get some inspiration and actually just create your own story, create your own path, and use that as drive, right? Inspiration itself is not enough. Inspiration just kind of gets your motivation going, but even motivation itself doesn't last forever. Okay, if you build up on that momentum by actually starting and taking a small step towards your discipline, then you get the dopamine, then you get the serotonin, then you get all these hormones working with you because you're actually going forward and your brain has something to believe, your subconscious mind has something to believe. It believes in your steps, it believes in your progress. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3 is build upon empowering stories. So instead of the whole comparison, you still, comparison and distraction, mind you, you use social media for good. You use social media to get these stories, to get empowered by these stories. So very similar to what I said previously. Number 4 is you meditate upon what it is that you want and what you want to build your discipline on, right? There's different areas that you want to be disciplined in. So sit back and breathe and really think about that, meditate upon that, okay? This is the one time where meditation doesn't necessarily have to be, you have to quiet your mind all the time. You can think about what it is you want to implement and meditate upon that, okay? You sit quiet within those thoughts rather than everything else that will try and distract you. And number 5 is try your best to get some level of accountability, okay? People work well with each other. It's not rare, it's not impossible, but it's a little bit harder to actually keep yourself accountable through the whole process, right? Whatever it is you're trying to do. That's why most people, for example, can't work out by themselves. They do a few things, and next thing you know, they're done. Like they feel tired, but they know they could have pushed themselves a little bit more. So try best to hold yourself accountable to either a coach or somebody, just anybody in your circle, okay? Someone who wants to ideally do the same thing as you somewhat. So accountability is honestly, it's probably the quickest or the closest thing you'll come to a quick fix, okay? When you're held accountable to somebody, kind of harder to actually backtrack. The reason as to why I'm bringing up discipline now is because most people are home with what is going on with this whole virus and isolation and quarantine and all that stuff. So everyone is home, and when they're home for a long amount of time, your anxiety tends to go up, your stress levels tend to go up, and you start to think a lot up here. You're up here. You're not very conscious of it. Okay, you're in your head too much rather than being the observer of your mind, the observer of your thoughts. Okay, I didn't mean to sound woo-woo, but this is a real thing. Okay, you have to be able to step back outside of yourself and actually observe what it is that you're thinking, and then come to a conclusion as to if it's empowering thoughts that you're thinking or if it's doing the total opposite. Okay, I'm not trying to talk about, positive thinking and affirmations and all that. I'm simply just saying, observe what it is that you're thinking, especially during this time. Okay, you can either get low in a very stressed state of mind, or you can come out of it and thrive while everything is happening around you. Okay, it's important to have an outlook, but it's also important to really take care of everything up here, because it makes a big difference in your outlook. It makes a big difference in what you do in your day-to-day. It makes a big difference in your routine. Okay, and this is where discipline comes into play. Okay, simply observing your thoughts is an act of courage, and you do that repeatedly, you'll build discipline in that area. Okay, you do something as simple as going for a small walk around your block if you're not isolated, or just going up and down the stairs 20 times. That's an act of courage. That's building discipline. Okay, you have to decide first that you want to do it. Okay, because if the way that you are now and you're tired of it, you're gonna want to change. Okay, so right now we're in a very interesting time right now in our world and our life. Okay, and you have to be very aware of what it is that's happening around you, very conscious of what it is that you're thinking in your head. Okay, you want to be in a presence level of consciousness rather than a fear-based level of consciousness, which also takes discipline. All right, that's the theme of today. It's discipline, and you want to be able to build it and use the tips that I gave you and apply them to your life, right? Get some accountability. If you're gonna be on social media, instead of being distracted by all the things that are there, and plus all the news and all the negativity, watch some inspirational stuff that actually get some motivation, and then, build up on that motivation and actually take action so you can build some momentum. Guys, I hope you liked today's video. I'm going to come up with more topics like this when it comes to discipline, your mentality, adaption, mad mind coaching. Mad is mentality, adaption, discipline, right? That's how I run my online business. So I'm going to come up with more content like that. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. LinkedIn, I'll put my free ebook description in the link. Sorry, in the video description. And on Instagram, it'll be on my profile description. Okay, so with that being said, hope you have a fantastic day. I will come at you again this week, and stay safe.